Hey, hello.
Howdy there.
Hi, everybody.
Hello again.
Welcome.
Hey.
It's good to be here.
Another day.
It's another day.
Another discussion.
Yes.
And a lot more opinions with no basis.
So welcome to another episode of Everything.
And nothing.
Everything and nothing. Hi. Yeah, I'm exhausted this morning. Oh my gosh. So anyway, it's 4th of July it feels like things are really cranking here in July. But anyway, a good friend of my daughter's and ours too is getting married. And so I spent all day yesterday in the hot sun, staging, prepping for this wedding. And it was a lot, but it was fun. And I'm glad it's over. And today I get to have a conversation, but not about that.
Well, so far it's been about that.
I always like to do a little quick check-in, have a little slice of life, you know.
Yep, June, July, it is the wedding season. All the nuptials are happening.
Yep.
I'm just here living la vida loca. Yep.
One step at a time. There's always our next mountain to climb, right?
One step at a time, one shade at a time, one box at a time, one breath at a time.
Yeah.
No matter what job you're in, no matter where you're at in life, there's always some repetition to it. We just take it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. And within that repetition, then there is always that ever expanding, unfolding evolution. So it's a weird dichotomy. It's like the same, but different.
Same, but different.
Yeah. Kind of like everything and nothing.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
That would be a whole topic on its own,
That
actually.
would be.
That's interesting.
But anyway, I know it's your turn today to
go first?
Yep.
Ooh, okay.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I think as last time we talked about the dream, I went first.
Yep,
Yeah.
I believe you.
I know it's true.
So, yeah, I had a topic, and I think just last second, during our drive to the coffee shop, I might have pivoted.
Ooh.
So I have nothing really prepared to say on this. I never do.
We never do.
But I wanted to talk about the force that is anger.
Ooh, well.
Your favorite.
That's going to pair perfectly with my
Perfect.
topic.
Everybody loves anger. It's the most comfortable of all emotions.
Is it? No, I disagree with that 100%.
I do too.
I think it is, very easy to get there sometimes. But I don't think it's the most comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're comfortable. You're comfortable with what you know. I imagine there's some people that are
That's
perfectly
a really good
comfortable
point.
being angry.
Yeah.
There's some people that are around angry people who are perfectly comfortable being around anger. But like, for example, Mariana does not understand anger at all. And so like she's very uncomfortable being around me when I'm angry. Also like, anger manifests in different ways. But before we dive into any of that, like what's your first thoughts? What do you feel? What is anger to you?
Well, I mean, my first thought is I believe all emotions are guideposts that something is out of balance, something is off, something is wrong, something is needing attention to bring life back to a place of balance. So I used to think anger was something bad. You had to cut it out. You had to never have it. And I don't believe that anymore. I think anger is very useful. It's very helpful. And I look at it now as bells and whistles going like, hey, Anezka, wake up. Something isn't right. Either with a relationship, a situation, or me with myself. Things I have gotten myself into that have nothing to do with anybody else, but that I am uncomfortable with or isn't good for me in some way. So that's my first hit about anger.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm having a little frog this morning.
Ribbit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ribbit. Yeah. Anger.
Right?
I definitely.
Do you think?
It definitely. Yeah. I mean, all emotions are healthy as tools to guide us. Yeah, they're healthy as indicators.
And go ahead.
They show us that something is up, something's out of whack. There's some discord between what's happening in me and what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what I am comfortable with in the world and what's going on out here.
Yes.
Now, we could definitely become angry for unhealthy reasons. We can have an idea or an expectation on somebody else or some situation, and it doesn't go our way. And like, but who am I to decide which way somebody else lives their life, right? So it's like we can become angry for these reasons that are very superficial and trivial, and unhealthfully put ourselves in that state. There's also times to become angry where it really matters, right?
Yeah.
Like when somebody is putting hands on somebody you care about.
Yes.
When it's time for the tribe to go to war because there is some impending doom on the village. When the tiger is attacking your son, right? There's times when like that rage, that numbness, that just hot-headed action,
kind of
and
warrior.
now
Warrior.
that is merited, and it's very useful in some situations. It's a drive to action. It's a call to action.
Yes.
Like when you're angry enough, hell or high water, you're going to act. You're going to do something. And, sometimes that's necessary.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's an illusion, a delusion that we're trapped within. Mm-hmm. So like what triggers anger? What is it that brings that about, do you think?
Well, before I talk about what triggers anger, though, I want to say that I think with all emotions, there's a healthy and an unhealthy way to express it. I think it's a tool, but I think some people use it as a weapon. And that's where I think it goes south, is when you don't have control over it. When you aren't using it as something productive and you're just wanting to hurt someone, or just vomit, it's like you're not even really conscious or aware about it. So I want to say that I think that there are two ways to all these emotions. The same is true with depression or sadness. It can go way off into an unhealthy, toxic way, or you can actually look at that and be like, how can I use this and let it move through me to something more productive?
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want to say that there's two sides to that. So what was the question again? It's like what
funny.
Causes it?
Yeah, it's funny because my topic was almost going to be grief, but I chose
Interesting.
Anger at the last minute instead.
Yeah.
The question was, what do you think triggers? Like, what is it? What is your opinion that? Where does anger come from? How does it manifest? Why does it rise its head from time to time?
Well, and this would be good for everybody to kind of sit and contemplate, because I think that's going to be different for each person, right?
Tailor-made.
Yeah, I think it's like, where did you come from? What made you feel unsafe? I mean, for me, one of the big things that evoke anger is I feel unsafe. I feel I'm in a dangerous situation. Somebody's done something to me. Somebody's trying to control me, have power over me. Somebody's trying to do something to me that doesn't feel good. I mean, that's one of my triggers. Another one of my triggers is, for me, I have this thing where when I see things that are unjust, I don't know what that is, but I just go red sometimes. Like, if somebody is putting somebody down in the street, or our government's doing bullshit, or whatever. I mean,
I think that's a healthy anger.
That's
a good one.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's unhealthy, but I'm saying that's, for me, is like anything that feels like it's out of alignment with justice. It's taking advantage of people, that's hurting people, pedophile, rape, like those kinds of things. I mean, I just get really enraged. Anything that's harming others can be a really big trigger.
Yeah.
Past traumas can make me super angry. Driving, again, it's like somebody who I feel like is cutting me off or being ridiculous. It's always, in my opinion,
unjust.
Somebody who isn't doing it right can really light my fire, So I think it's a personal thing, right? But I think, and I want you to answer that question too, because I'd like to hear what you say. But for me, it's like the next question would be then how do you get a handle on that and not label it and judge it, or let it just burn like a wildfire?
Hold on to that question there.
I know. We got to go. So anyway, I'm going to roll that back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So what do you think triggers it?
It's obviously a personal thing, but there are some universal commonalities also. Like, I think you mentioned injustice. I think that pisses most people off.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe we're just channeling the karmic God
collective,
through us, and that comes through as rage, as some we want to be the justiciar, right? We want to be a vehicle to help deal out the justice, give a pit maneuver and nudge the guy off the road that just cut me off. It's like, it's not because I'm angry. It's universal karma, right?
Or
it's
because I'm better.
I am an instrument of the divinity, and I want to take you off the road, right?
I think we've all been there.
But there's some universal crossover. For me, probably the biggest one I can think of that's like a personal trigger is like if I think somebody's like slighting or insinuating that I'm stupid, for some reason that really bothers me. I've noticed it come up in conversations a couple of times, and I'm like, oh, we got to look at that one.
Interesting.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, if it takes a lot to piss me off, not a lot to frustrate me, and I think frustration's like one step towards anger. There's definitely a lot of like a lot of levels to anger, and as far as like rage is concerned, I probably haven't been rageful in like 20 plus years. When I was a kid, I was a very hot-headed kid. I remember I would get angry and just like throw things and scream, and I remember just go like run and slam my head into a wall a bunch to like blow off steam or something. I don't know. I was crazy. Still am, but just slightly different crazy now. But yeah, it's like I haven't reached rage in a long time. I haven't even reached anger to be a call of action. I mean, with the exception of like, tiffs with significant other, we get a little heated in conversation sometimes. But yeah, I'd say frustration is where it mostly manifests, and it just kind of like is a black cloud over my entire day, where just everything just feels I just feel a little bit of hatred towards everyone and everything. And I would say that's a bit of an anger too, and that just kind of accumulates when I'm unhappy and I feel like life's not going the right way and work life sucks, and like for me, frustration happens just when too many little things start to pile up, and I feel like the world's against me, so I turn against the world. Yeah.
Well, and I think part of that goes back to that self-care, right? Because I feel like the frustration starts to creep in when, my criteria of life is it nourishing? Am I having fun? Is it, am I balanced with all the things I need to do? And it's like, if those things aren't in play, if I'm like scheduling too many meetings and doctor's appointments and I do it in a time schedule, I don't really have enough time to get there, because in Portland, we got 3 times the traffic now. And, then I'm frustrated, and then I'm getting angry at people. And then and then it's just like, it just taints the day. And then I'm too busy to cook and have a healthy meal. And, and that's when things go awry for me. So I've learned like, okay, we got to take some things off the plate, and bring it back down to that balance, because I'm the same way. If I'm work, or even if I'm play. Like I have a lot of play happening this summer, and I'm pretty tired. I mean, I'm having a good time, but I'm like, wow, I didn't really make a lot of downtime. That's also having an impact on me. So I think it's that, anyway.
Yeah. And out of alignment and out of balance. I think that's well said.
Yeah.
Now, circling back, what was the question that you posed earlier?
Let me see. So what I was thinking about was like, all right, so too bad we didn't have like a rewind button. So we were talking about what triggers you, right? But then I was like, so what do you do about it? Like, so what can you do when you're in the moment, right? And something is triggering. So how can we use it as a tool? And this is, again, I would really invite all of you to sit down and do your own inventory and think about, okay, what are your triggers? Because I think that if we can be aware of what they are, then when they're happening, we can go like, oh, here's a red flag. Something is out of balance. What is it?
Yeah.
And then how do I use this energy to move me forward in evolution and to a productive, because anger has really helped me get shit done sometimes, I will say.
Yeah. It's a force.
I mean, back in the day, it was like, oh, I'll show you. And then I moved the whole room by myself. And then it takes a week and a half to recuperate from that. But hey, I got so much shit done. I moved that whole room by myself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is a force. Yep. I don't want to do that way anymore. But I have used it when I'm feeling like this feels unjust. I how can I make a change? That's something that I've been doing a lot. I take it and it's like, okay, yeah, we're pissed about this. Yeah, this doesn't feel right. What can I do about it?
Well, and that's the secondary position. I think the crux of dealing with anger, and probably the hardest part to start with, is you have to notice you're angry.
Yeah.
You have to be like, okay, wait, I am not
Yes.
acting normal now. My actions are not reflecting what I actually believe and who I actually want to be in this world. I'm stepping out of line. I'm stepping out of my normality. And maybe it's one of those cases where you should be angry and you have to follow through with whatever the threat is. But oftentimes you're going to find that, okay, wait, I'm just angry right now.
Yeah.
And if you're just running subconsciously, you can't change anything.
No.
Because you're just acting out at that point. You're basically throwing a temper tantrum.
And you're usually blaming other people in that state
exactly.
too.
It's like,
it's
you
not
made me do this, you said this,
Yes.
he did that, they cut me off.
Gave all your power away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, at the end of the day, when you become emotional, that is something that you have power over. But until you say, oh, this is mine, you don't have any power over it. You have to first realize, and you have to own it, and you have to take that emotion as your own. It's like, I am angry, this is my anger.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people say, like, take a couple deep breaths, right? But really what you need to do is just take a pause to, like, zoom out a little bit, get a little bit better view of what's going on, and, like, figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's tough, too. So I would say probably not as tough. Just taking that pause is the hard part, because you just want to, a lot of times for a lot of guys, you're kind of just seeing red and you're just going, and like you feel threatened, right? You feel threatened, and so you're responding to a threat that's outside of yourself. And it's hard to put a pause on that.
It is.
But once you have that pause, then that's the time to learn, right?
Yeah.
And that's the time to think, okay, why am I angry?
Yeah.
What led up to this? And that's when we start to look at what the triggers are. It's like, oh, well, she said something about what I said was wrong, so therefore she implied I was stupid, therefore I'm angry. But it's her fault because she said this. Wait, no, pause. Right? So that's the process that we get into there.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. But I also want to throw something out. It's interesting because at our 4th of July, we have a family event every 4th of July, and this topic actually came up with a few different people. Like a lot of anger, I think, is coming up for people in the world right now. It's a big topic, right? Because a lot of stuff is in our face that feels scary, out of control, hurtful. You mean, just name it. And there's like a lot. And I will say, women, I don't know. This is a broad statement, but what my experience has been is, women have a harder time dealing with anger, like when it's expressed and also when it's happening inside. I know I did. And so when anger was coming up for me back in the day, I first had a counselor because, that was saying, you got to get that stuff up and out. If it's in your body, it needs to find a way to get out. And so in the beginning, I mean, you and Athena were little.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. And she said, you need to get a tennis racket and close your door and go, and you just beat the hell out of your bed and you scream and cry and you've got to get it out, that anger. And I said, but that's going to damage my kids. And she said, no, you just let them know, like, mommy's got some big feelings. It's not about you. And I'm going to go in here, you're going to hear me yell and stuff. And so I went in there and I was screaming and yelling and crying. And it was hard because that was not an emotion that was okay to express growing up, and definitely not in the religion. Like, you keep that. It's godly to be perfect and kind and loving, and there's no room for anger. Anger is a bad thing. So it was a lot for me to do this. But I came out and I'm like, oh my God, my kids are probably terrified. And I came out and they were outside the door and you guys were playing with something. And one of you go like, Mommy, do you feel better? And I was like, a little bit. I said, I got to go do some more. And they're like, okay. And then I went back in and did some more. But you guys were like, yeah, whatever, Mom. I mean, get your anger on.
Exactly.
So nowadays there's things called break rooms. I just talked to a family member who's going to make her own break room where and I did that early on too, way before this was a thing. We had a basement or a garage with cement that was far away. And I started getting cheap, ugly dishes from Goodwill. And I would go shut myself in there when the kids were safely taken care of. And I would just break dishes and scream to get this anger out of me because I just had a lot of trauma in my childhood. And so when we moved, people were moving that out and they're like, what are all these piles of broken dishes in the back? That's my therapy room, so I share that with you because now there's actual break rooms where you can look, where you actually go pay, and then I evolved from that to just having we used to have that dummy. What do we call him? Bob. Yeah. And we dressed him up in Dane's old Domino pizza
because they wanted to beat
outfit.
me up.
Yeah, no. But he had a hat, and I feel bad.
He's like a martial arts dummy. A big
he's a
guy.
martial, and I would just go down and punch the hell out of him and say things to people that I couldn't ever say things to, right? So I think it's very healthy to find actual physical outlets. When I couldn't do that and I'm in the moment, I pause. If I was having an angry moment with a spouse or a partner, I would say, oh my God, time out, go to the basement, beat the shit out of it, come back up. And then I'd be like, okay, now I can have this conversation. But I think that's also a healthy way to, sometimes it's got to get out.
Yeah.
It has to get out. If you just keep stuffing in there, it's going to come out in the most inappropriate ways. I know, because that was my life. Oh no, don't be angry, stuff it. Oh no, don't be stuff. And then something benignish would happen with somebody and I would just
volcano go boom.
And they're like, what? And I would feel super embarrassed and I'd be like, oh my God, why did I do that? Because I wasn't getting it out. Journaling is another great way. Write shit out, man. Don't send it to anybody, but say what you really feel. I feel like those are some of the most powerful things that have really helped me deal with anger. And now I'm not afraid of anger.
That's good.
And, and I was. Because, growing up, my mom and dad fought all the time in anger. And so anything angry would be like, oh shit, my whole foundation is going to fall.
The world's crumbling.
Oh my God, something bad's going to happen, And now I'm like, okay, people are working some stuff out. Good. As long as it doesn't get violent. I don't feel good about that. But,
yeah, of course not.
But anyway, I think that's some very helpful tools. And I love the pausing. I think that's really important. It's kind of like a theme of all of our talks, it's like that observation piece we keep coming back to over and over and over.
Well, if we're trying to learn and grow and actually take something away from talking to one another, it requires pausing. It requires integrating what you believe and your thoughts into what you're seeing and how you're actually living. And until we actually take those pauses and make those intentional adjustments, until we actually take the autopilot off at times and choose a direction on purpose, we just keep going in a circle.
Yeah.
So whether it's anger or grief or many of the other topics we've had, you got to just take a pause, take a break. Short, sometimes it's only like a couple seconds, just like, here's where I'm at, what's going on, right?
Yeah. Keep it from escalating.
But we just got to look at ourselves. We got to work on understanding who we are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I want to go back to something you said, because I thought it was really very, very important. And you were saying how in this argument with this significant other you were having, how they said this and then you thought that meant you were stupid and then that meant this thing, how, because I think that a lot of times our anger or our assumptions, which it is that, come from old stories and programs we're telling ourselves that aren't even true in the moment. They didn't even mean that.
Yeah, it's projection usually.
Right.
Where we're projecting what we think will hurt us onto what the other person is doing.
Right. So sometimes our anger is coming from something that's false, false evidence appearing real. And so I think that's one thing that really helped me in my relationships is that when that happens and I'm getting all angry too, is what am I, this is like 3 years of practice too, of stopping and rather than running down that track saying, what did you mean by that? What did you mean by that statement? And really getting clear, because 9 times out of 10, I wasn't being put down. They were in their own story and they said it in a way that I interpreted, but then when Jim, you guys know my husband, well, not all of you know him, but that's who I usually am having these, when I ask him, I'm like, hey, that, I feel really put down or whatever. And it's like, he's like, no, I don't feel that way at all. no, I meant XYZ. And I was like, oh, that is not how it sounded to me, just so you know. And it's in that clarification, right, that a whole thing of anger got diffused because we didn't have to run down that road, for 10, 15, 30 minutes going over stuff and then throwing more shit on the fire that makes it even bigger. And then it gets confused even more because now you're bringing in more baggage from other topics and other issues that don't even have to do with the original thing.
Now you're fighting about something else altogether.
Yeah. And then it's just like so confusing and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what this is about anymore because you and I know we're on the same page.
Yep. I think you're right. I think most commotion, most anger, most fighting really comes from just misunderstanding, confusing a word or something, especially with me right now, my significant other, we speak Spanish pretty much primarily. And so the amount of miscommunications that happen there, I mean, there's a lot of times where like I'll hear one thing and it wasn't said, or maybe it was and she's just telling me that it's all in my head because I am a bad speaker, that's possible too. But yeah, so much of the world's woes, so much of the conflicts globally and in between partners just comes from just not quite understanding what's going on.
So what would happen if you had the courage to stop and ask a question?
Yeah.
Right? Just stop and ask a question. And I think the other part of that too with anger is be the first one to say you're sorry. Like really, like it doesn't like, I mean, I'm getting so good at admitting when like, yeah, I probably could have done that better rather than like, no, you said this and I wouldn't have done that if you, an example, just tell a really short story. I was going to tell this with my topic, but I think it fits more here is that, again, with that thing of having too much to do on my plate, and I left the house late for doctor's appointments. So as I'm coming into downtown Portland, there's 2 lanes, and you're kind of weaving back and forth because there's several lights. And this van was speeding up really fast behind me, and there was a truck parked here. So when I went past the truck, I merged over, and I could see this guy was doing the same thing. He didn't have his blinker on, but I didn't use my blinker either. And we were going pretty good clip. And then suddenly he like whipped back out, and I could tell immediately, oh, he's pissed because he wanted to be the first one and rush ahead on that lane, right? And so he comes up next to me and he's like, fuck you. He's the usual like, God damn, fuck it. I mean, blah, saying all this stuff to me and all angry and everything. But there's a lot of lights. And of course, the next light we stop. So I roll down my window and he's over this way. Dude, what's up? You don't have to be swearing at me. Like, what's going on, man? Like, that's not necessary to be so flipping me off and shit. Like, that's dangerous. And he's like, well, you didn't use your blinker and you cut, and I'm like, you didn't use your blinker either, dude. He's like, I did. And I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. If I didn't use my blinker, I said, that's bad on me. I will pay more attention. I said, I hope you can, like, let's just come to a moment of peace. No, I can't forgive that. I'm not going to.
Unforgivable.
Unforgivable.
You're going to hell.
Yeah. Oh, he was like, and I'm like, okay, well, that's on you, dude. I said, you know what? I'm going to pay attention and do better next time. I'm more, and he was still pissed and he just, floored it ahead. And I was kind of chuckling to myself because first of all, it's like, it's so absurd. I mean, it's all over, and so I was like, I can let this go. And, and before I will say in the past, I mean, that kind of a thing would have really bothered me. Mm-hmm. I would never have talked to somebody. Yeah. I would never have confronted. And I didn't confront him in a mean way. I was just like, dude, come on. I said, we're both part of the human race. It's like, what? Anyway, but it didn't scare me. It didn't, I was able to go like, yeah, maybe I'll use my blinker. Cool. That's a good thing to do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't. In the past, I've been like, but you didn't, and I'm like, yeah, so I don't know. So that's part of, yeah. So that's, yes. Well, I mean, am I always that way? No. But I'm getting better at it. Getting better at it. And I think that's how I want to deal with anger is I can use it to stand up and I can use it in a lot of different ways, but I don't get so entrenched in it that, I go out of control and make everybody else wrong or,
Well, and once you understand anger too,
Yeah.
Not only does it allow you to have a better understanding and control of yourself, but it allows you to identify it in other people and be like, oh, this person is just angry. They're not,
He's having a moment.
They're insulting me, but it's just them being angry. They're just telling me that they're not feeling good,
Yeah.
And you're able to really kind of identify it in the wild as well.
And I'm not holding it against people. Like if I saw him at a party, I would go up to him like, hey, dude, I was the one in the car. He's like, rah! He might say a bunch of stuff. I'm like, come on, let's have a beer. I could laugh about it. I mean, and that's where I'm trying to get to. It's like, and I think that this is a lesson that our whole world needs right now because we're so polarized and I'm right and you're wrong, right? That this anger thing, and we got to start finding a way to cross that bridge and
we need to use our
give
anger
and take,
in a healthy way, right?
Yeah.
It's like somebody flips you off, you channel your anger healthfully, follow them up the hill, run them into a ditch.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
I think that's a good spot to leave it.
I don't think so. Do not do that.
Do not do that. Kids,
do not do that. Inquire. No. Pause. Go find a tree. No, go find a stump and beat the shit out of it.
Beat up a tree in your backyard.
Yeah, no, I love trees. Stumps are okay, but don't beat up your tree. Anyway, I think anything else you want to say on that, my friend?
I think we let it rest. With that.
Or we might start getting angry.
Maybe we already are.
I might start getting you frustrated. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
She said I'm stupid.
She thinks I'm stupid.
All
anyway,
right.
do your own inquiring. And we'll leave it there. And I think we'll be back in a minute for part 2.
Perfect.
Okay. See you. Bye. I already went through my coffee.
That's quick.
Which it's a double coffee day. Thank you. I like to drink out of glass.
Rather than plastic? Yeah, plastic's got all that crap it leaches.
Oh, I hate drinking out of plastic. And I don't really like drinking out of metal either.
I like metal. Depends on the metal. I had a nice copper bottle. It was pretty awesome.
Oh, copper's different anyway. Slicing hairs. Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
This is the podcast where we talk about things to drink water out of.
Yeah. Glass. Anyway.
Yep.
That was a good topic.
Yeah. Halfway there.
I said, So now I talked about yours. I don't really have anything left to say about mine.
Was yours on the same wavelength?
No. Okay. I'm sure I'll find something. So
You already did blow your story.
I know. Oh, that's true. But I always have more. So yeah, it's interesting. Life has been really busy. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that as well, but today I picked kind of last minute as well. And what came up for me was forgiveness. And, it's interesting because forgiveness kind of for me is a triggering word in and of itself, because the origins of that word for me came from religion, steeped in all of the Jesus Christ teachings and the Bible and all of that. But I've worked with that word multiple layers with counselors and different things throughout my life. And I just kind of wanted to, what is forgiveness? I mean, I have a lot of questions to ask about it, but we can start there. Like what does forgiveness mean to you? Like because we can then dive into what's the purpose? When do you forgive? Do you forgive? Maybe there's another word for forgiveness, because I don't really like the word forgive. But anyway, I'll throw that ball to you first, and then we'll unpack it.
Forgiveness is something I feel like I have a good amount of experience with. And it's extremely important. So forgiveness, we go through life and we often are slighted. We're often persecuted. We're often judged. We're often treated unfairly. We're often, outcast. We're often rejected.
Yes.
Part of life is learning how to navigate other people's desires and opinions about you.
And treatments.
Exactly.
Yeah, the way they treat you. Yeah.
Everybody says don't judge a book by its cover, and everybody says that because everybody does it. And everybody's, to some extent, when you walk into a room, you're sizing up the situation, you're taking into account who you might want to talk to and who might be a threat to you. It's just, That's how we understand the
Human
world.
nature.
We observe and we learn through observation, and then we make judgments based on what, did that shark bite me last time? Well, I'm not going to go swim near the shark. Like, that's how we fucking survive,
That is a good point.
So we all do that, and we're all subjected to it, right? We all have opinions about one another. And if you look at that and you know that they're just opinions, you can not let those cloud a first impression of meeting a new person. Like, you don't have to be, an ist. You don't have to judge all, Christians a certain way or all Asians a certain way. Obviously, there's exceptions. And if you know that, you don't have to be bigoted or carry, prejudice yourself.
Yeah.
But we all do it. And we all have it done to us. So when it's done to us, it's easy to, we are persons and we take things personally very often.
Yes.
Often what we're taking personally is not meant to be. But sometimes it is. And sometimes people attack us time and time again. There's the bully on the schoolyard, beats you up time and time again. There's, the teacher that mistreats you and singles you out time and time again. And these, these are trauma, right? These stick with us.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those can fester into what is a hatred or a bitterness towards this person. And when I think when you carry that hatred, when you carry that bitterness to that person, you're actually, what you're doing is you are believing what they did or how they treated you. They treated me bad. I'm bad. I hate that person because they made me bad. Right? So it builds a tether between you and this person that traumatized you. And it confirms in yourself that you are what they did to you to some degree. It turns you into a victim, right? It's the victim mentality. So ultimately what forgiveness is, in my mind, is you have this relationship between you and a perpetrator. And what you do with forgiveness is you cut that line, right? You say, those words, what you did was not true. I'm letting it go, right?
Yeah.
And so there's two levels of forgiveness. And that's the healthy one. That's the one that I think everybody should practice all the time. You should forgive yourself and what you do, your own mistakes, as well as anybody in your past, whoever, how egregious they mistreated you. You have to cut that line, because as long as you are a victim of what that past trauma was in your own, like, you are internalizing it. You are becoming that. You are playing that out in your mind to some degree. Then there's also forgiveness. There's the forgiveness kind of in the more traditional sense, which is where I forgive you, right? Yes, you did that. Yeah, you said I was stupid. Okay, it was in anger. I forgive you, right? And that's a gift you extend to somebody else. So there's two types of forgiveness, and they're both extremely valuable in their own right. And that was my first impressions, I guess, on what is forgiveness.
I like it a lot. Yeah, thank you. I think that was some really, really good stuff that you laid down there. And it's interesting because I've lived also a lifetime of dissecting that word forgiveness, and remolding it and adapting it again and again and again, and from different perspectives. Because I've told you guys, I'm all like a really big believer of counseling, and I do a lot of different healing modalities. I'm really about the self-help vehicle, and I really adhere to that. So it's interesting how there will be a different take from each practice person,
but they all
kind of touch into it from different layers, and like I said, my first one I would say was in the religion, why I think that word is harder for me from that perspective is it was always felt like it was very steeped in shame and guilt, that there was something fundamentally wrong with me, and that I had to ask for another to save me and forgive me and to give me permission to be a relevant human being again. And the God was always like, oh, bad, So it always felt like oh, please forgive me. I'm such a horrible person. And, I'm a sinner and,
the original sin.
Right. And so that always felt so heavy and so like, wow, is this really what God wants me to be? Is this like, please forgive me? You know, like
cowering.
Yeah. And I was like, that doesn't fit for me. That just does not. At some point I was like, that doesn't fit for me. And so I started like my journey of learning, like, what other kinds of forgiveness could there be besides, I'm just originally a horrible, human beings are just, like broken and damaged and, all that. And, and that's where I began to find my own belief, and through different studies that, ultimately, like, I am a beautiful, beautiful part of God. I am this beautiful, perfect human being that isn't broken, that isn't flawed, that came here to learn. And why do I need to ask forgiveness for that? When I'm doing exactly what I was created to do. I was created to fall down and make mistakes, so why am I asking forgiveness for that?
Exactly.
Now,
I was put here to do one thing.
Yeah, I was doing
Fuck up.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I'm here. How else? I mean, that's the only way that I'm going to learn is contrast. And contrast happens by getting things wrong all the time. And then you try again. And then you try again. Now, with that said, I evolved and then was kind of like, yes, if I've done wrong, of course I want to say, look, I'm really sorry. Like, right? That's a form of forgiveness. Like, please, forgive me. I'm sorry. I didn't, yes, I did that, but I'm going to do better because I don't want to hurt you. Or to myself, where so many times I've been like, man, I'm just a horrible person. I did that and this and that. And I'm like, you know what? But I didn't have any other tools. I'm going to, so sometimes I've replaced that word with like acceptance, and I will say in the forgiveness path though, it's like, I think it's a personal journey for sure, and a personal choice, because sometimes it takes a long time to come to a place where you can accept something. And just saying like, oh, I forgive this person, when you're not really there, or, I'm going to let this person go, or whatever, like cut that cord. It's got to be an authentic.
Yeah. Saying the words is a superficial thing.
You gotta,
I can say I love this person, or I hate this person, but until it's like, it's an energetic thing more than a language. It's not a language thing, It's not like Michael Scott. I declare bankruptcy, right? I declare forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's like
which some people do that though.
It's an actual uncoupling of yourself from the trauma, to a point where that trauma has no bearing over you anymore.
It doesn't control you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's you can't just say you forgive somebody. I mean, you can, and that's a good spot to start. But really, it's like a feeling of peace towards that person.
Yes.
It's like, I now feel peace when I see this person. If you still feel like a deer in the headlights, and like, you're like, oh, they're going to fucking murder, they're going to beat me up again. It's like, you haven't really forgiven them because you're not in peace around this person. Mm-hmm. It's a feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think that feeling can come and go. Don't you? Like, you can get to that point and then it can go away. And then you can get to that point. So I think that sometimes it could be a little bit of a back and forth thing. I mean, that's been my experience.
That might be the process of getting to actual forgiveness.
Yeah.
You might have to go back and forth a couple times. But for me, once I've like actually forgiven somebody, like actually, like, unless they, do something again that is a new point of data, which is like, all right, this person, once again, I need to reevaluate. They're no good for me.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's kind of one-time thing.
That's interesting.
And it's not like I forgive this person forever for everything. It's like, I forgive this one thing that happened.
Yeah.
Right. It's not, it was also if somebody like, beats me up, and then it's like, we're good friends after that, and I forgive them. And I'm still going to be like, this person might beat me up, right? It's like, I still have that data point. Like, I still don't trust this person, maybe completely.
100%, yeah.
There's, because once again, we learn from our experiences, right? The shark bit me once. Well, it's capable of biting me, right? So
yeah.
That's going to be part of that book cover that we notice every time we see this person.
Well, I mean, and this came up for me because, I have noticed with myself, like, I don't know if it's just my personality, but I can be at a place where I'm at peace with someone and I'm all good. And then something will happen again, and I'll be just like off the rails. And I'm just like, I don't like that person. And, and I'll talk specifically because I had an interesting, this 4th of July there was an interesting experience. So, you've all heard me talk about my oldest brother and how, he really was my biggest abuser. And I'm not going to get into the details, but there were many, many, many hurtful things throughout my childhood that happened. And I stayed in relationship with him for my whole life because mom was like, family is important. You're there for family no matter what. And there were times of the relationship where I would say that he seemed to behave better or just be in a better place in his life. I don't know. But then when he moved back to the farm, after about a year, it's like things started going south again. And there was like these behaviors started popping up where it was kind of reverting back more and more to that, trying to hurt me.
The bully.
Yeah, going back to that thing. And it was interesting because the more sick my mom got, the more this behavior started to show out. So it's almost like my mom held all that behavior at bay. And when she died, it was like the cork came out and he just started behaving in very hurtful ways and, trying to traumatize, trying to literally do things. And, when I questioned him about it, he's like, oh, I just wanted to see what it would be like to torture you again. And I was just like, what? And it like really re-triggered me. And all that forgiveness, like all that work I did was just like, we were like back to ground zero again. And so the interesting part is that through a series of maybe about a year, trying to work with him and my sister and everything, we were trying to come to a place where we could all be together and have conversations, but it was getting more and more wacko. And at the end, like the final conversation, and it's a big, long story, but my husband, Jim, was a big part of it, was like, you know what, we just need to separate from this person because this is getting more and more dangerous and volatile. And at the very end, there was a statement made like, I'm going to do everything in my power to hurt you and your sister, short of leaving bruises and, I'm not going to leave evidence. And when that comment was said to me, I was like, oh yeah, we're so done. And that's when I walked away from the family farmhouse and I'm like, here, you just have everything. I walked away. So that was 6 years ago. I hadn't been on the property. I haven't been in contact with my brother. And it's the healthiest thing that I ever did. And through that process, I found that I've been able to kind of come back to that chord again you were talking about. And through all of this, I've always loved my brother. I will always love him. But I also recognize when someone's not safe. And I don't feel like he's unsafe right now because I feel like he's gotten everything he wanted. But here's the interesting part of the story that I wanted to talk about, because I have been really consciously working on that forgiveness piece, but forgiveness in the way that Dane was talking about it, of like taking my power back, like cutting that and I feel like something shifted and I came to this point where it's like, I'm not afraid to be around him anymore. Even if he takes my life, I'm not afraid. And so this last 4th of July, I really had this desire to go to my childhood home and see some of the improvements my younger brother has done. And I went over there and he happened to be there. And something in me said, you need to go and just say hi. And I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But this is part of that forgiveness thing too, is I think sometimes you have to listen to that inner voice. You have to really trust yourself. And I went over there and it was interesting because he, was very kind and friendly. And it's like that shark thing. I know that my brother is very good at presenting, because if anybody from down that knows him that's watching this, or you see him around town, he's very good at camouflaging things, like you would never know stuff. And that's how I felt in this moment, seeing him. It was like, I felt like he was happy to see me. We hugged. I felt a very shark distant, I know that shark, and I don't really know why I needed to do that, but I felt like there was another level of freedom of taking back my power. And it's like, you just don't hold that over me anymore, and And I think that's the power of forgiveness, acceptance, whatever and however you put a label on this, however it shows up to you, that when you can do that, there is, I don't know, I feel freer than I've ever felt in my entire life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Now, am I going to open up a dialogue there? No.
Go get tea and biscuits together?
No, no, absolutely not. I can just tell like that it's still not, like I said, if that person were to go get some help and do things, there's just a lot there that I don't want to share, but, then I would always be willing to step into a room in a healthy way. But I've had a lot of experience of trying to do that with this person, and it always ends up very badly and with very, what's the word? Distorted, like almost like a split person, like the facts get really like cuckoo, like making up stuff and, and so it's not possible to have a dialogue in a healthy way.
No honesty there.
Right. You have to have somebody who's really willing to tell the truth. And anyway,
try.
Yeah. And so you might have somebody like that in your life. I wanted to share that because maybe that might relate to somebody, because it is a process. Forgiveness is a process, and some people you'll have to do the work on your own. Like you're not able to connect with them.
Well, and that's a good point. It's like, honestly, it's not just a process, it's a personal process.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of the people I've forgiven, you don't have to go face to face. You don't have to give them a phone call. It's just like you making peace and letting that experience go. Just be like that no longer defines me.
Yep.
It no longer has any power over me. This is who I am. This is who I have built. That was something that happened in the past, and it's no longer it no longer has bearing on who I am as a person. There, and there's something to be said for being able to do something in person. There's something to be said for the 12 steps of coming together and giving an apology or a face-to-face. And with a lot of people, if that's possible, there's power in that.
Absolutely.
That is powerful. Some of the people that traumatized me the most, I did circle back around, and also the people that I traumatized the most, I did make a point of going back and forgiving these people and asking forgiveness of other people. And it did bring me solace. It was a good experience, at least for me. I hope for the other people as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that starts here, and sometimes we have to do all the work here. And and if it's a relationship you want to repair, then go and say your piece as well. Yeah.
And again, I know we always say this, but I'm going to say it's always best to start with yourself. You have to. It's like, where are you carrying around heavy stones that are holding you back, that just you need to forgive yourself for? That you need to give yourself a break so that you can go on and do better things. Because I believe if we're carrying around these old things, it's really hard to step into new stuff, and start doing better and, moving in positive ways, because we're just knocking around, just dragging this dead weight around us everywhere. Yeah. And it makes it hard to start loving yourself when you're just carrying around. It's almost like self-flagellation or something, like beating yourself down. It's like, make peace. Yeah, make peace with that.
If you have too many cycles in your brain, based in trauma, telling you you're bad or unworthy because of what the other people did,
or what you did,
how much of your day is spent in those cycles, right? And if you can break those and replace those with healthy ones, wow, imagine who we could become.
Yeah. And I'm not the kind of person who can do this kind of work on myself. I just couldn't. I mean, I did do books and stuff, but I've always had to have somebody help guiding me and be a mediator. And, because I think it does help, whether it's a counselor or a trusted friend or a group or something that can help you see your own blind spots, because it is sometimes hard to see your own. But anyway, I'm not sure. I think that might be it for me. Anything else coming up around that for you?
Well, I forgive you.
I forgive you too.
Perfect.
Do you forgive yourself?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I think that's till the day I die.
I think that's a lifetime work too, right?
Well, because
we're constantly adding things to the
you can forgive
menu.
yourself for one fuck up, and then welcome to tomorrow, and then it happens again, right?
Yeah. That's so true. But I will say this is like when you do start to practice and that becomes part of you, it is easier to let things go much quicker now.
Yeah, with practice,
Yeah,
for sure.
practice.
With practice and with
Yes.
anger as well. The
Yeah.
more you take that pause and
Yep.
reflect on what it is you're angry about, the easier it gets. It
Yeah.
becomes natural. Just like, oh,
Yep.
oh, I'm here again. Okay,
Yep.
why was it? And the more you practice it,
Yep.
the not only the easier it gets, but also like with anger, the more you'll realize that you just don't get angry at these small things
Yeah.
anymore, because
It's true.
before you even get angry, you already realize that there's the trigger.
Yes.
And then you can make that choice before the anger even starts. Like, okay, well, that's my trigger. Let's not go down this red road,
Yeah.
right? Let's not lose control.
Yeah.
I'd rather not lose control. Whenever I lose control, all these bad things happen, and I end up
Yeah.
feeling bad. It's like,
Yeah.
well, let's choose to not feel bad, right?
Yeah. And also you start like unloading the past anger as you're starting to be aware and pause and process. You know, it's like all that powder keg starts to lessen so that you don't have that explosive when something new comes up. And then the other thing I just wanted to say that because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm so busy and or they're just don't want to be silent with themselves. They're just cramming in the TV shows and cramming in it. Let's go do and all this. And it's like, the only way you're going to ever make these changes is if you have silence with yourself. It's impossible to learn something new about yourself and what you're feeling and what you're doing and who you are if you never have time to look. If it's
To
just
think,
stuffing.
To ponder.
So, and people say, I don't have time. Well, you know what? I do it in the car. I sometimes listen to podcasts, but I don't listen to podcasts, music. I don't do anything. I just drive in silence. And that to me has become my place to just kind of like sit in silence with myself and just let the things roll through,
Yeah. Yeah, they talk about meditation.
Yeah.
There's also the term walking meditation, which I really like. Just
Yeah.
like whenever you're walking, whenever you're driving, whenever you're just doing something that can just go on autopilot, like just do it then, you
Yeah.
know? Think about yourself. Think about your life. Think
Yeah.
about how it all fits together. Think about maybe, one thing you did that you didn't like, and now what can you do differently, right?
Yep.
Where can these adjustments happen? How can I understand myself better so
Yeah.
that I can be better,
Yep.
right? And if we don't have time for that,
Why are we
what the
here?
hell are we doing?
Yeah. Why are you here?
Welcome to the rest of your life in that
Yes.
case. It's
Yeah.
like, you're just going to...
And would now be a good time? Yeah. Now would be a good time. Right now.
There's no time like now.
Yeah. Anyway, and then just take baby steps. Sometimes we think we have to change, like just start small. One thing.
Why do they say that? Babies don't step.
Maybe that's why, because you got to lay there and go goo goo gaga. Maybe because, you have to start with it just like, I can't do anything.
Just wiggle around.
I'm just going to
Just
look
feel.
at the ceiling.
Exactly.
Poop my pants.
Yep.
All right. I think that's good.
All right.
Yay. Okay. Well,
fun.
yeah, it was really good. I feel inspired. I'm going to go and, as always, think about myself, inquiry. Where can I look at my anger and I know where I'm working on my forgiveness. I already got that so anyway.
Your noggin.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. Anyway.
Hope you had some fun.
Yeah.
I did.
Yep. I did too. And I've been thinking about a new tagline for my life, and it's called Do Good, Be Good, Kick Some Ass.
Damn, that's fucking good.
I like it.
I like that too.
So
Well, become an expert in you.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
bye, guys.